Welcome back to the second hour of Peace of Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Scott Grant. We're here today with Brenda Harper. Today we are talking about, in the second hour, we're going to be talking about dentistry. And we are happy to have a special guest with us here today. In addition to Brenda Harper, we have a colleague in front of mine, Dr. Chris Kelson. He's an orthodontist in the area. We'll get to him in a few minutes, but we're excited to have him on the show. We want to let our listeners know that you are listening to KINF 730 AM 99.1 FM. And during this show, we will take any dental-related question you have. Give us a call at 465-0730, and we'll be happy to take any dental-related question that you may have.
We hope that you appreciate all the free information that we give out on our show. The goal of Peace of Mind, which is a program about all the physical, intellectual, and emotional pieces and how they all fit together. The goal of our program is to really help our listeners become more savvy healthcare provider or consumers.
Well, I think our whole thing the whole time, Brenda, is education is the key. And going forward with the changes in healthcare reform and all the changes that we have, we really do need to be better and more wise healthcare consumers. And the intent of this show is to help you do that. Specifically, when we come on, we want to talk about dentistry. We want to talk about how, if you take care of your dental health, how your overall health will benefit from that. There's been research that really has been exploding recently about how we really are only as healthy as our mouth. So I'm glad to be on the show, and we're grateful to you to bring awareness to the public about their oral health. I want to let our listeners know too, one of the things we will always strive to do is bring out cutting-edge, recent information, and one of the things that's available to the Boise and actually any resident of Idaho. So if you're out there listening and you're a resident of Idaho, there is an opportunity for people right now through the Regents Caring Foundation for Children. They are an organization dedicated to improving the oral health of our citizens, especially our children under 18 in the state of Idaho. And their program is an awesome program, and I just want to bring it out really quick and reiterate it a few times during the show. But what's available is a $1,000, essentially I call it a dental scholarship. And there's many dentists throughout the entire state that are taking this program. It's for the kids who are uninsured. So if you're listening right now and you have not taken your child to the dentist because of financial reasons, primarily because they don't have insurance, then we have a kind of a measure for you here today. We can get you information. It's really running between now and the end of the year, and we'd be happy to do that.
And then there's the psychological standpoint of orthodontics, where having a healthy smile, a healthy bite, allows you to be comfortable in showing your smile. Some people seek to reduce their exposure of the teeth. They try to hide their smile, and they're not able to express themselves fully because of it. You know, they may think I'm going to prevent people from seeing my crooked teeth, but what really happens is they miscommunicate what they're trying to say. Most of our communication occurs non-verbally. What our body position,
Absolutely.
our posturing, and our facial interactions are a huge part of that. And when we hide our smile, even if we're not intending to, we are creating a disconnect between what we're saying and what our body is saying.
I'd like to break it down into two F's, and one is form and the other is function. So we're talking about, a lot of people only consider, Brenda, they're only thinking about braces because of the straightness of their teeth. That is a component that we definitely want to consider. The other is function. Okay, if your teeth are misaligned or crowded, or you're missing teeth, or your bite's not right, it can really affect the performance of how you eat, chew food, and function. Another one is health. There's a lot of health reasons. Bacteria love to hide in the nooks and crannies of our mouth, and when teeth are positioned improperly, crowded together, it creates these little nooks and crannies where bacteria thrive and do very, very well. We see a lot of people end up with gum disease. In addition to that, Dr. Kelson, what other health benefits do we tend to see from people who undergo orthodontic care?
The way your bite fits together is important in protecting your jaw joint or your temporomandibular joint. When everything fits properly, it supports healthy joint function. Your jaw joint or your temporomandibular joint is the most complex joint in your entire body. It's a bilateral joint. It has two sides to it. It's very, very complex. It really has an infinite way it can move. And the teeth, or the way they fit together, play a large role in guiding and supporting proper. But it's a very functional process that's going on. We're mechanically breaking down that food into smaller and smaller pieces so that our The digestive tract can remove nutrients from that food. If we took a bite and swallowed it whole, our digestive tract would have a very difficult time breaking that down. It would get some nutrients out, but it's going to get many more, much easier if that food is broken up into much, much smaller pieces. So when we have our teeth that fit properly, our chewing system, our jaws are able to function properly. They're able to function more effectively and efficiently. They get more done in less time. So each bite, each chewing motion breaks up the food more effectively.
INF 730 AM 99.1 FM. If you have any dental related question, go ahead and give us a call. The phone number is 465-0730. Dr. Kelson, when I'm sitting in my office, quite often I get two questions that come up all the time, and I'm going to ask you these two questions. One is, what age should we start thinking about orthodontics with our children? And the second question is, am I too old? So let me throw you those two questions.
Wonderful. I love both of those questions. The first question, how old should I be when I first see an orthodontist? The ideal age, as recommended by the American Association of Orthodontists, is the age of 7. Now, well into the 70s and 80s.
And sometimes at 70, you still have time.
You've got 20 years, 30 years, or more.
Yeah. You know, father-in-law 102.
There you go.
One of my favorite things that a lot of my elderly patients will say, they say, oh, there's two schools of thought. One, they'll say, I always wanted to do it, but I never did, in which case I said, it's never too late. So long as you're still breathing and you have teeth, you always can have that smile that you wanted. The second favorite one I have, Brendan, regularly is I find some of my 70 or 80-year-old patients say, you know what, I always wanted to do this, and I'm in a position where I can finally do it, and I'm going to do it. And they are so thrilled. In fact, they are some of our most happy patients when they come out of braces, because it's something they always wanted to do for themselves. And so, health, they can, a lot of times we know a lot of adults start falling into the periodontal disease, the gum disease category. A lot of that times, Brenda, that's not just simply from having poor oral care. It's because the teeth are twisted, turned sideways. They create those spots where bacteria grow. So do it for yourself. I really think that it's a nice thing to do, and these orthodontists do a great job of getting these people the smiles they really always wanted.
And
welcome back to the second hour of Peace of Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Scott Grant. We're here with Brenda Harper and our special guest, Dr. Chris Kelson. Today we're talking about dental care. We're specifically talking about orthodontic care and how really optimal dental care can make your overall wellness improve, the health of your whole body function better. So we're here today focusing on that. We want our listeners to know if you have any dental related question, give us a call. We'd be happy to take the question here on the air, try to get you an answer to your question. That phone number is 465-0730.
Today, I'll have you guys give me any links or things that you think should be up there, and we'll get those. And I know we want to talk about Invisalign.
Yeah, so Brenda, one of the things in research, and we have progressed with orthodontics. So let me say, before we dive into Invisalign, what are some of the current changes in technology to make our braces more efficient with a better outcome?
Yeah, modern orthodontics is wonderful. We've come a long way from the old days. Braces today are smaller, they're more comfortable. The forces used are generally much lower, so things are more comfortable, not as achy. And we've got new modalities, new tools in our toolbox to make things work easier and faster and even more complete than we used to be able to. We have these new things called temporary anchorage devices, which allow us to move teeth in ways that we weren't able to before, or that would have required very extensive procedures, for example, surgery. We can avoid some surgical procedures with these new
who may or may not qualify for these different type of treatment modalities.
Yeah, 6-month braces is an interesting new marketing approach where the goal is not to really fix the whole bite. The goal with 6-month braces is just to make the front 6 teeth look better. That's an aesthetic or a cosmetic treatment. I honestly don't know of any orthodontists who are doing this procedure. It generally is done only by a general dentist who goes to a seminar over the weekend to learn how to do 6-month braces. It's not overly complicated. It's fairly simple, and it aligns the front few teeth to make it more appealing. And there are certain people who that's really all they're looking for. They just want those front teeth to look better, and this may be.
I think what Dr. Kelson, in essence, is being nice, but he's not saying is if you just take the front 6, you really didn't affect the system. And when you consider facial proportions, you're considering the whole bite, the way your cheeks look, the way your lips come out, the way your chin appears. Really, when you go through orthodontics, you're not just, these guys aren't just simply worried about your front teeth. They're worried about the entire system. And that's what I love about, especially Dr. Kelson. They're looking at how do I maximize the aesthetics? How do I put the teeth properly in place? How do I make sure your upper lip looks fine and your lower lip looks fine? How do I make sure your chin's okay? Is your upper jaw growing too much, too low, too little? Welcome back to the second hour of Peace of Mind. I'm your host, Dr. Scott Grant. We're here today with Brenda Harper and our special guest, Dr. Chris Kelson. Today we're talking about dentistry. We're specifically focusing in on orthodontics and how good orthodontic care can affect your overall wellness. We've talked about how it can eliminate disease, promote a healthy bite. We just got done talking about how it can affect the way your lower third of your face looks, the proportions of your upper and lower jaw, and how it really is an important part of overall wellness.
Treatment. I see parents get so excited as their child develops and they see things that they weren't necessarily really upset about before, but when they see how it can be, they just get excited and they think, wow, this is so wonderful. It seems overnight they look so much more mature and developed and just balanced and healthy and beautiful. I love the way my child is looking.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see that enthusiasm that comes with making things fit. And we're really, it's not just about having a straight smile or a pretty smile. It's about having things work right and be balanced and healthy.
But one of the things, Brenda, a lot of people have is you're going to spend a lot of money on things in life. Okay, there's no end to what we can purchase. I'm going to tell our listeners that one of the best spent dollars that you can do is in orthodontic care. It will affect you for the rest of your life. It will improve your self-confidence. It will make you your smile pretty, your smile happy. If you always thought about orthodontics, I'm going to recommend Dr. Chris Kelson.